นวนเชิงควอนตัมหรือ Institute for Quantum Computing ที่มีตัวย่อคือ IQC ในประเทศแคนาดาท่านจบการศึกษาระดับปริญญาเอกสาขาคณิตศาสตร์จากมหาวิทยาลัยออกซฟอร์ดโดยวิทยานิพนธ์หัวข้ออัลกอริทึมสำหรับคอมพิวเตอร์เชิงควอนตัมปัจจุบันท่านดำรงตำแหน่งศาสตราจารย์ณภาควิชา Combinatorics and Optimization แห่งมหาวิทยาลัยวอเตอร์ลูเป็นสมาชิกร่วมก่อตั้งสถาบัน Perimeter สำหรับฟิสิกส์ทฤษฎีในวอเตอร์ลูที่มีชื่อเสียงเป็นผู้ร่วมก่อตั้ง CEO และประธานกรรมการในหลากหลายบริษัทและสถาบันที่เกี่ยวข้องกับความปลอดภัยทางไซเบอร์ที่ปลอดภัยจากการถอดรหัสเชิงควอนตัมซอฟต์แวร์ทางควอนตัมเช่นบริษัท Revolution Q Software Q และ Quantum Safe ในแคนาดาศาสตราจารย์มอสกาเป็นผู้ได้รับการยกย่องในระดับโลกเลยนะครับในการเป็นผู้นำเพื่อช่วยสถาบันการศึกษาอุตสาหกรรมและรัฐบาลเตรียมความพร้อมระบบไซเบอร์ให้มีความปลอดภัยในยุคของควอนตัมคอมพิวเตอร์ท่านได้รับรางวัลและเกียรติยศมากมายอาทิเช่น Top 40 Under 40 ของแคนาดาในปี 2010 และเหรียญเกียรติยศ Diamond Jubilee โดย Queen Elizabeth ที่ 2 ในปี 2013 เป็นต้น
Okay, so hopefully that's correct. And so yes, Professor Mosca, I think we are a bit early, like 5 minutes earlier, but please take the stage.
Yes, again, yeah, it's my honor to be here, and thanks to the MCs for the kind introduction in both languages, and to Dr. QTRI for the kind introduction as well. We're here because quantum physics means things that were previously impossible or infeasible are now possible. It's actually a very exciting time to be in the field of quantum information, quantum computing, because the technologies to actually achieve some of this advantage are already here, or they're accelerating rapidly. So it's a very exciting time, and it's time to have national initiatives to really start framing how are we going to take advantage of these opportunities for ourselves, for our companies, for our countries, and for humanity worldwide. So I applaud. It's really wonderful to see this quantum technology research initiative. Delighted to help in any way I can. And so I want to start with, we are in a phase where, and I'm going to focus on certain aspects because I see this wonderful list of speakers you have who be able to cover so many of the topics worthy of being covered. So with something as potentially disruptive as quantum, where there's, for example, exponential advantage, computational advantage, as well as other things, it's really important to be ready, right? Especially as the technology is now emerging. We are in the quantum era. It's just continuing to expand. So what does it mean to be quantum ready? How do you get quantum ready? Well, first you have to understand what the technologies are. And it's important to realize when people say quantum, there's many different sectors and verticals, and they all have their different timelines and features and ways of managing the opportunities and the risks. Okay, so something to keep in mind. But for all of these quantum verticals, let's say, you have to understand the technology and what the readiness level is. Then you have to assess, what does this mean to me, to my organization, to my country? And when you've done these two, then you can come up with a plan to benefit from the disruptive technologies. Right? What are the capabilities? One must also, of course, have a plan to mitigate any implicit threats. This is a general purpose map that we all need to go through, especially now that quantum technologies are real and they're approaching fast. So it really is time to figure out how you can reap the opportunities intrinsic with quantum technologies. Where are we? So, when I started in this field, it really, I thought it was, science fiction. And when I realized they were serious, I thought it was ridiculous. And then I realized I was wrong and started working in the field. But we've come a long way. So I'm going to focus on quantum computing and then on quantum safe cryptography. Again, respectful that there's quantum sensing in particular. That is a very other meaningful area where I've also done some work. But it's no longer an academic exercise. Okay, I remember not too long ago, people were saying, "Oh, don't worry about quantum computing. It's still just professors and their grad students." That's been false for many years. Okay, Now, it's not left academia. It's not like academia is done, but it's expanded. Academia is still a growing and critical part of this endeavor to reap positive, benefit for humanity out of quantum technology. But now we see global, multi-billion-dollar global enterprises entering the game, right? With large teams, and they'll be able to, synthesize, integrate a lot of these components that academia is in many cases involved in into working platforms and deliver the value to customers. I mean, that's what industry does. But it really is an ecosystem, and academia still has a very integral part, as do the customers, as do the providers of the solutions. And here's examples of these generally USA-based entities and pre-existing multi-billion-dollar entities, but also new startups with billion-dollar valuations as well. Companies like Honeywell, which came out of the woodwork really and announced, actually, we have a quantum computer too. So there's a lot of great activity in Europe as well. China really aggressively entered the game of quantum computing around 2017 or so, announcing tens of billions of dollars of investments. And it's not just government investments, also industry investments, as well as startups that have joined the game recently. So it's an exciting time. Another indicator that it really is time to get ready as far as quantum computing advantage is concerned, because it's not just the hardware platform. They're not just writing Nature papers and just, my quantum computer is better than your quantum computer type competitions. There's entire software stacks being developed. There's an entire growing industry of companies who are providing the software tools needed to use, to build, to run quantum computers and to benefit from them. There's incubators dedicated to quantum companies. And there's end users who are really studying and working with some of these companies. So Software Q is one company that spun out of my group at IQC, right? And they're trying to understand, what does quantum mean to us? Now, there's 4 stages of quantum readiness. Again, understanding what it is, what it means to you, coming up with a plan, and then benefiting from that plan. Okay. And I think everybody's at it needs to be, there's a time for all of this, but you can't be in stage 4 if you don't go through stages 1 through 3 first. So a lot of the quantum industry now, people say there's hype. Sure, but I think even the hype is hype. Like, there's a technology hype life cycle. We know that. And I think quantum readiness is an important value-added service that depends on products that industries around the world need to do. So that's a real value-added, service and products in some cases that one needs to engage now to make sure they're beneficiaries and not negatively disrupted by quantum computing capabilities. So it really is an exciting time for quantum computing. There is, now I want to focus on a really important aspect of, if we want quantum computing to be a positive milestone in human history, we must mitigate this one known threat. And the fact is, one of the things, what really woke up the world to the power of quantum computing, because up until 1994, it was an academic curiosity. Literally a handful of people were working on it. Sure, maybe there's exponential advantage there, but then Peter Shor showed, actually, it'll break RSA cryptography and discrete log-based cryptography, right? So there's a problem. Just as an analogy now, if we thought of the cryptanalysis use case for quantum computing, we went from thinking there's no advantage to exponential advantage. That kind of overnight, disruption could happen in any positive application, like material design, drug design, and so on. That's why it's really important for critical economic sectors to be ready for positive quantum computing disruptions. But returning now to this negative disruption, they will break the codes. Who cares? Well, we care because all of our digital platforms, the only reason they're secure is because of cryptography. And there's public key and private key, symmetric key cryptography, but they're all intertwined. Every major digital platform, directly or indirectly, is susceptible to cryptanalysis of public key cryptography. So if the public key cryptography is broken, again, directly or indirectly, it's a massive, we're talking about wide scale collapse and disruption of information communication technologies, which is one critical infrastructure, but all the critical infrastructures are intertwined. You can't have a stable financial system if the internet doesn't work and global payment systems don't work and so on. And you can't have a functioning government if our IT systems have collapsed and so on. So this is the Canadian economy up there, but you can put the Thailand economy or the global economy up there. We all depend on these critical infrastructures. And obviously, I just want to emphasize there would be a massive, negative disruption if we weren't ready for this. Okay. Now, some people will say, you know what, there's so many cyber attacks. Guess what? Nobody's complaining today about cryptanalysis, right, of the code. So you know what? You might think that's important, but there's phishing attacks, ransomware. There's all these really mundane things that why would I bother with quantum cryptanalysis when I can do cheap, lowbrow cryptanalysis? The fact of the matter is you have to deal with all of these threats. Really what the point is, I'm of course, strongly advocate for getting better and better at dealing with patch management and all the mundane things that are really hurting us today. But that's sort of the top of the iceberg, as I call it. These are attacks. I kind of have an iceberg of cyber attacks. At the top, it's the day-to-day stuff. It happens. We know how to detect and remediate quickly with minimal disruption. As you get down the iceberg, things like heartbleed, these are pretty systemic problems that are not easy to fix. And at the very bottom, you have something like cryptography is broken. There's really not much remediation if the cryptographic algorithms are broken. All right. And it's one thing for, a high chance that some small fraction of our systems go down to remediate. But what if there's a 1% chance they all go down? How are we supposed to remediate? Right? Because the systems we use to remediate are also down. And all the critical infrastructures start to collapse. This is a very systemic, dangerous scenario. We want to escalator. We have to find a way to leapfrog ahead of this day-to-day firefighting. Fire prevention, especially big, devastating, potentially unrecoverable fires. These are serious business continuity problems and worse. So it's a serious problem, but another issue some people might raise is, but you know what, 50, 100 physical qubits is nice, but we're years and years away from a cryptographically relevant quantum computer. And so, call me when you have one. For now, I'm going to focus on other things. That's also an incorrect way of analyzing this threat. How soon you have to start preparing depends on a number of factors. Firstly, don't forget, a lot of our information has a long lifespan, right? Your personal information, your DNA, your trade secrets, national secrets, your strategic information might have a 10, 20, or longer year shelf life. A lot of it is 1 year shelf life, that's fine, but some has a long shelf life. The second fact, let's call that X, the security shelf life. Another important factor is it takes a long, long time to migrate to new cryptography. Even simple things like fixing heartbleed, fixing the buffer overflow or whatever, took a few hours, but doing the quality assurance and deploying it across all the platforms took up to a year. And that's a trivial fix as far as, the things go. But migrating a massive, again, the foundations of all these digital platforms takes 5 to 20 years. right? So this is migration time. Again, it depends on the platform. So every information asset has a different X. Different systems have different Ys, migration time. For the next Y years, you're stuck with these quantum vulnerable systems. You're supposed to provide X years of security, confidentiality, say, but if X plus Y is bigger than Z, you're already too late. You already risk losses. Okay, is it guaranteed losses? No. An adversary might choose not to exploit that capability, that information.
ทดสอบ
affect this migration. So what is Z? When are cryptographically relevant quantum computers going to be here? IBM says they're going to have over 1,000 qubits in 2023 and a few fault-tolerant, logical qubits. We've surveyed 44 thought leaders all around the world and asked them, black and white question, when are we going to have a fully controllable fault-tolerant qubit? And actually some thought, we asked them a year ago, most thought not within a year, but some thought maybe within a year. That didn't happen, but most thought probably within 3 years. Not for sure, but there's even greater confidence in 5 years. So if you're doing risk management, or if you don't care about cybersecurity, but you want to understand when might I have a fault-tolerant quantum computer, this information is very good for planning purposes, right? And assessing the likelihood that you'll be able to reap certain types of quantum advantage within a certain time frame, which is important for business planning and policy making and so on. And what is Z? So once you have the logical qubit, you have to scale it to a few thousand to break these codes. And some people, so another fallacy is people say, oh, quantum computing.
ทดสอบเสียงจากคอมพิวเตอร์
computer in 20 years. I said, in 20 years, we're going to have 20 qubits, and then the path will be clear. And as years went on, I thought there's a 1% chance, a 10% chance, and now over 80% chance. So yes, I talk about 20 years, but what I'm saying about 20 years is changing. It's not the same. And now, in fact, in 2015, I said a 1 in 7 chance of it happening in 11 years. 2 years later, 1 in 6 chance of 10 years. And 2 years ago in Seattle, the Amazon headquarters, I said a 20% chance within 10 years. I have a methodology, which I won't get into. Others have made other. That need fault-tolerant qubits, you can use this as a yardstick, right? You say, well, this is when people think we might have 4,000 logical qubits. My application only needs 400 logical qubits, so it'll probably happen before that time, and so on. Again, it's not perfect, but at least it's some sort of guide stick. As far as cryptanalysis is concerned, most people think less than 1% within 5 years, but 17 out of 44 didn't select less than 1%. So for really critical life and death systems, even 5 years from now, it's starting to become a significant risk. And by 10 years, I think it's an unacceptable risk for any important digital platform. If you again, my own view is that, but even if you interview these other 44 thought leaders. So where does this take us? It's not a doomsday scenario. We know what to do about it. Okay. We replace the existing mathematical algorithms with new ones that are designed to resist quantum attacks, so-called post-quantum cryptography. One really nice feature of these new algorithms is you don't need quantum computers to implement them. So they'll run on conventional platforms, wireless. Performance might be different, so you better check to make sure your computer's fast enough, but at least you don't need quantum technology. It makes it a lot easier to ubiquitously deploy. But quantum technology is a wonderful new addition because on the left side of my view graph is reestablishing the status quo. We still go to bed at night worrying that maybe a smart mathematician has figured out how to break these new codes. Like I work on finding short vectors in a lattice. I might have a good day and figure out how to do it much faster than anyone thought was possible. And that would break these new codes. So, which is, worrisome. So of course we shouldn't rely exclusively on post-quantum algorithms for the most critical assets. So very, valuable assets where we can't risk an unexpected cryptographic break. Quantum cryptography is a wonderful way that allows us to, we can use untrusted, communication channels to achieve these secure communication channels. Otherwise, you're really stuck with a trusted courier with a briefcase carrying keys around or some other very cumbersome key management, key distribution platform. But quantum cryptography really will age very well, as I say, because as we deploy better and better quantum communication technologies, quantum cryptography becomes faster, better, cheaper, more available. And, sometimes people are trying to figure out which one is better. It's not about which one is better. It's about how to combine these. It's a suite of tools. Security architects decide how to put them together to achieve their security objectives. So these are very complementary tools. The way I often phrase it is the so-called post-quantum cryptography is the first line of defense, and quantum cryptography is a very powerful second line of defense for more critical systems. In terms of quantum readiness, there's this four.
สวัสดีค่ะ อันนี้เป็นกล้องจาก
ดีบทนี่คืออันนี้คือ
นี่ไงอันนี้เป็นเสียงจากเว็บแคมเป็นไงจริงเหรอ
ตอนนี้คือไม่ได้ยินเสียงอะไรเลย
อ๋อ อันนี้เป็น
ซูมก็ไม่ได้ยิน
แป๊บนึงเดี๋ยวจะได้ยินละ อันนี้เป็นเสียงจากเครื่องคอมพิวเตอร์ เป็นไมค์จากคอมพิวเตอร์ตัวนี้นะคะ
เสียงมันก็จะแบบมีสิ่งรบกวน
ใช่ นี่ไงมนุษย์ต่างดาวของพี่นั่นเอง
แสดงว่าเสียงจากเครื่องนี้ไปละ
แล้วตอนนี้
ไมโครโฟน
จะเป็นเสียงจากตัวเว็บแคมมันตัดน้อยยังไงเอาแล้วตัดน้อยได้ตัวแคมไม่มีเสียงเราเลยอะเธออาจจะได้อยู่ฮัลโหลค่ะสวัสดีค่ะมันแทบที่จะตัดน้อยออกไปหมดเลยได้ไหมอันนี้คือเสียงจากเครื่องคอมพิวเตอร์ไม่ได้เลยอ่ะ
เสียงอะไรก็ไม่รู้
ทำไงดี
ทำออก
ไม่ได้
ไม่เสียบไม่ติดใช่ไหม
ใช่เดี๋ยวรออีกรอบหนึง
15 นาที
โอเครออีกรอบหนึง
บอกไม่ใช่พูดชัด
ใช้ที่ไม่ติดแล้ว
ใช่ไม่ติดแล้วไม่ขึ้นด้วย
บันทึกในวิดีโอใน OBS อะไรอย่างเงี้ยได้ไหม
ผ่าน
มัน
OBS
ต้อง
ใช่
มี
ไหม
มัน
คะ
ต้องเป็นเรื่องใน OBS ด้วยป่ะ
ใช่ค่ะ เลือกแล้วค่ะอาจารย์แต่ว่าในเนี้ยค่ะขึ้นนะคะ แต่ว่า
อันนี้หรอ
ไม่ออก
ต้องไปเปิดไมค์เล่นวอลลุ่มของในเครื่องนี้นะคะ
เดี๋ยวนะคะ เปิดไมค์เร่งวอลลุ่มในเครื่องนี้ใช่ไหมคะ เหมือนเครื่องอะค่ะจะมองว่าตัวเนี้ยเป็นลำโพง เดี๋ยวหนูหาวิธีก่อน
ใช่ในเครื่องอาจารย์ต้องใช้ลำโพงของคอมพิวเตอร์ใช่แต่เป็นไมค์ของตัวนี้ถ้าใช้ลำโพงไอ้ตัวเนี้ยเสียงอาจารย์ก็ไม่ออกเหมือนกันเข้าใจปะ
ค่ะแล้วหนูต้องเปลี่ยนให้มันเป็น
มันจะมี
ไมค์
คือต้องใช้ไมค์เนี่ยAT 2020แต่ลำโพงเนี่ยมันจะของอาจารย์มันขึ้นว่าอะไร connect sound อะไรก็ได้connect sound
ขอโทษค่ะทดสอบไมโครโฟนตัวใหญ่ทดสอบค่ะทดสอบได้ยินเสียงไหมคะมาก
เดี๋ยวมันดีเลย์ประมาณ2 นาทีเนาะ
Don't slow down. There's no threat anymore. We've taken care of it. Just benefit from quantum computing. And that so there's a really yin and yang relationship between quantum safe cryptography and quantum computing. If we succeed at protecting digital platforms from quantum attacks, it will accelerate, it will allow us to very freely embrace the opportunities quantum computing brings.
โอเคเพิ่มวอลลุ่มของตัวนี้ใช่ไหม
ค่ะเพิ่มสุดแล้วใช่ไหมคะต้องเล่นใน OBS ในนี้ก็สุดแล้วค่ะอาจารย์ต้องบอกนะติมันจะดังมาก
เนี่ยเสียงมันออกมาไม่มีน้อยแล้วแต่ว่ามันเบามาก
ดิฉัน
ก็ต้องไปใส่ noise cancellation ไป
ใส่ไปออกแล้วค่ะอาจารย์ใช่ค่ะ
มันเบามาก
ทดสอบมีคนดู3 คนอะ
มันเบาอ่ะ
ทดสอบค่ะทดสอบ สอบค่ะทดสอบค่ะเปิดไหมก็เลยไม่ออกทดสอบค่ะดังอยู่ค่ะแต่ว่าดังไม่มากเลยทดสอบทดสอบทดสอบทดสอบทดสอบทดสอบ
อันนี้ปกติมันจะไอ้นี่มากเลยนะมันจะชัดมากๆ
So as I wrap up, in the 1990s, the crypto we're using today is very much, the crypto we were using in the 90s, right? And there's this notion of, well, I don't need perfect security. I just need good enough security. Well, I think maybe it was good enough in the 90s when we were protecting fax machines, right? And most of our students don't even know what that is, right? But now, those same foundations, I personally think, are not really good enough for what's at stake today in the 90s. Driverless cars and like global payment systems all intrinsically depend on the stability of these cryptographic algorithms. So I'm nervous, to be honest, but fortunately quantum has incentivized, is driving us toward building a more robust foundation, which is resilient to quantum attacks, but more than that. So quantum, the antidote for quantum is not just making us resilient to quantum, but it's actually building a stronger cyber immune system. We're more agile now. If these codes are broken, we're now deploying mechanisms so we can switch to new codes faster and more easily than we used to before. And a technique called hybrid, which also helps us mitigate risk. And with quantum cryptography, it'll be even more resilient, which we need because we're certainly much more susceptible. We're very, very vulnerable to cryptanalysis right now because all of our critical infrastructures are vulnerable. So I think with QKD, and where are we going to be 10 years from now and 20 years from now? Driverless cars, implanted medical devices. Like we want a more robust and resilient foundation. And we're heading there. A lot more work to be done, right? Again, collaboration with industry, academia, government, both as a customer, as a policymaker, and so on, to get there. But we are heading in that positive direction. So in closing, as far as, I've talked a little bit about quantum computing readiness. I really think it's an exciting time. Don't blow all your gunpowder. Don't play the short game. Of course, benefit from any short-term wins, but it really is a long game, but with huge rewards for those who really explore this and engage all the relevant stakeholders early on and in an intelligent way. As far as quantum safe is going, we don't need to panic. We do need to move assertively, and we can do much more than just rebuild new systems resilient to quantum attacks. We can rebuild them they're more future-proof, more resilient to unknown threats of the future. So in a sense, I want to close on, I know I've said a lot of scary things. I think the quantum threat was actually a blessing. A blessing is a good thing, right? It's a blessing in disguise, because most of us in cryptography, we were in a very vulnerable place, and we could not really, it was hard to get the political and business will. There was a lot of cryptography debt or cyber debt, in a sense, that it was really hard to motivate short-term action. But the quantum threat is a very concrete thing, right? Because before, like, what if somebody breaks these codes? Well, call me when they do, but of course then it's too late. But human nature is not very good at internalizing these externalities. But quantum was a concrete threat that is really forcing us, is enabling us, we shouldn't say force, because it's a good thing, enabling us to mitigate not only the quantum threat, but to build more resilient digital platforms, which we need, in the wake, it's not over, but in the context of COVID-19, we understand viscerally now the importance of getting ready, of that ounce of prevention and that readiness. And I think we can do that with cybersecurity and hopefully other aspects of our economy and society. Anyway, thanks so much for your attention. Sorry, I think I went a bit over
1
time,
minute.
but I'm happy to take any questions if there's time. And of course, feel free to reach out to me as you continue on this wonderful journey. Again, congratulations again on everything you've achieved to date and on the vision that you've articulated. And I really wish you all the best. And I hope to, I look forward to hearing and seeing more of it.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Michele, for a really nice talk. So we have a few, maybe 1 minute for questions. Actually, we got a lot of questions, but probably we can do one. That's from Dr. Girawat, actually. So he asked, what would you recommend for the mid-sized and large-sized organizations to get started on post-quantum cybersecurity? That's it.
For mid-sized?
Yeah, mid-sized and large-sized organizations, yeah.
Well, I'll do them separately. So for mid-sized, okay, I would say this is mostly, a vendor management thing. So start engaging your vendors. There's some simple language you can put in your request for proposal, talk to your procurement people and so on, engage your vendors and just talk to them about your security needs. You can do a quantum risk assessment. You can look at quantum risk assessment in my last name. You'll find the template for doing it, and then use that as a starting point to talk to your vendors, because they're the ones who are going to provide you your quantum safe solutions. You might find other gaps, in which case you will have to do something, but I would start with the quantum, a light quantum risk assessment and vendor engagement. Larger corporations, you really need to appoint somebody immediately to come up with your quantum readiness plan, give them broad executive support, and then then do the next steps, because the plan will write itself. And it will include vendor engagement, will include engagement with standards, or developing the standards you need, and so on. But this is all very low for a large corporation. It's a small investment, but you really do need to do it. And again, the trick is it can't be somebody. It's got to be somebody good who gets things done, who can work with people, has a broad view, and it can't be something they do in their spare time, because for sure something else will always, more urgent will always emerge. So it's really got to be fundamental to their KPIs. It has to be fundamental to their, their annual bonus, that they come up with a really good quantum readiness plan. And I think, and then what you'll notice is you control at most 20% of this. So you really do need to engage with the ecosystem to work together to come to a happy place where our digital platforms are sufficiently resilient to quantum attacks.
Cool. Thank you very much, Professor Michele. Yes. So we are on schedule now. So let's go on to the next thing. So thank you, Professor. So next on schedule is opening session, and the language in this session is going to be purely Thai, and then we'll have some English in part of it. But we will have the translator, like live translator for us channel. And then the IT support will send the link in the Zoom chat. So if you want to continue listening to the English version, you can click that link and then listen to the translator from there. So I will leave it to Dr. Tiparat ค่ะ
ครับผมก่อนจะเข้าช่วงพิธีเปิดงานในช่วงเช้านะครับเพื่อเป็นการเตรียมความพร้อมให้กับท่านผู้ฟังที่อาจจะยังไม่เข้าใจ Quantum Mechanics นะครับให้เข้าใจแนวคิดของการทำวิจัย Frontier หรือว่าการทำวิจัยขั้นรากฐานนะครับโดยเฉพาะอย่างยิ่งงานวิจัยที่เกี่ยวโยงกับความประหลาดและความน่าชงนของโลกควอนตัมผมขอเล่าบทความสั้นๆที่ดัดแปลงมาจากบทนำของหนังสือนะครับ Primer of Quantum Mechanics ที่เขียนโดย Marvin Chester ข้อความมีดังนี้นะฮะอะไรคือจุดประสงค์ที่ทำให้เราศึกษาฟิสิกส์ใช่เพื่อสร้างเทคโนโลยีหรือไม่แน่นอนว่าฟิสิกส์สามารถนำไปสร้างเทคโนโลยีและนำไปใช้ให้เกิดประโยชน์ได้เช่นเดียวกับศิลปะและดนตรีแต่ประโยชน์เหล่านั้นไม่ใช่สาเหตุหลักที่เป็นชนวนจุดประกายให้เราศึกษาดนตรีศิลปะหรือแม้แต่วิทยาศาสตร์ฟิสิกส์แต่เราศึกษาฟิสิกส์เพราะว่ามันได้สอนวิธีการคิดแบบเป็นเหตุเป็นผลเราสามารถสร้างแนวคิดจัดหมวดหมู่คัดกรองร้อยเรียงและเชื่อมโยงความคิดนำมาสู่ทฤษฎีที่มีความสวย
beauty as beautiful as poetry. Above all, we study physics because it is fascinating. In moments, we can understand the workings of nature around us, both tangible and intangible. What is the attraction of the quantum world? The attractiveness of quantum world in this mysterious beauty of the world at the atomic level or even smaller. We create meanings and explain the quantum world using mathematical language. Niels Bohr, one of the founding fathers of quantum subject, said, "Those who are not shocked when they first come across quantum theory cannot possibly have understood it." Here are some examples of shocks in quantum theory. Superposition of particles, which can be in many states simultaneously, is entirely possible. Entanglement of two objects in the universe can be experimented in a lab. How can we understand nature at an intimate level, far beyond our common sense? We have to readjust our common sense and be open-minded as we can possibly be. We make whatever sense we can of the quantum world so that it can become our common sense. And that is how we become intimate with nature's way. Therefore, I'd like to invite you all to adapt and adjust our common sense and be open to the intimate and shocking quantum world together.
และเป็นผู้ประเมินความสามารถของสถาบันมาตรวิทยาในกลุ่มทวีปยุโรปและภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกอีกด้วยท่านมีบทบาทอย่างสูงในองค์การมาตรวิทยาระหว่างประเทศท่านเคยดำรงตำแหน่งประธานคณะกรรมการวิชาการด้านระบบคุณภาพขององค์การมาตรวิทยาแห่งภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกและเป็นหนึ่งในทีมผู้เชี่ยวชาญที่ประเมินความสามารถและความน่าเชื่อถือของสำนักงานช่างตวงวัดระหว่างประเทศ ทุ่มเทที่ท่านได้มอบให้กับการพัฒนามาตรวิทยาในภูมิภาคเอเชียแปซิฟิกทำให้ท่านได้รับรางวัลเอเชียแปซิฟิกมาตรวิทยาอวอร์ดสำหรับประเทศไทยนะครับคุณอัชราคือหนึ่งในนักวิทยาศาสตร์กลุ่มแรกที่ร่วมกันเสนอให้มีการจัดตั้งสถาบันมาตรวิทยาแห่งชาติเพื่อทำหน้าที่รับผิดชอบพัฒนาระบบมาตรวิทยาของประเทศให้มีความสามารถทัดเทียมกับนานาชาติและได้รับการยอมรับตามข้อตกลงระหว่างประเทศครับผม
ขอบคุณค่ะ ขอแนะนำเป็นภาษาอังกฤษด้วยนะคะ Miss Achra Jarensuk, the Director of National Institute of Metrology, Thailand. She received her Masters of Science in Nuclear Physics from Chiang Mai University and the Advanced Certificate in Public Economics Management for Executives from King Prachatipok Institute, Thailand. She's a member of Executive Committee of the Asia Pacific Metrology Program, APMP, and the chair of the Technical Committee on Quality System of APMP. She received the award for her lifelong contribution to the APMP. She was technical assessor to review capabilities of national metrology institutes in Europe and Asia Pacific region. Together with a few top experts in metrology, Ms. Achra assessed the quality system of the International Bureau of Weights and Measures. In Thailand, she's one of the few scientists who called for the establishment of the Thailand's National Metrology Institute to take the full responsibility to build up a national metrology system that can be recognized by international norms. And that led to the inauguration of the National Institute of Metrology Thailand in 1998. โอเค
ขอ
ค่ะ
เรียนเชิญคุณอัชราเลยครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะ
กราบเรียนศาสตราจารย์พิเศษดร.อเนก เหล่าธรรมทัศน์รัฐมนตรีว่าการกระทรวงการอุดมศึกษาวิทยาศาสตร์วิจัยและนวัตกรรมประธานในพิธีตามที่คณะกรรมการมาตรวิทยา
As the National Metrology Committee has given unanimous approval for the National Institute of Metrology to disseminate the progress in research of quantum measurement standards to the general public, entrepreneurs, investors of the progress and awareness of the importance of the Institute's mission to create confidence and attract investments of high technology industry to the country, and to create a communication platform between researchers and entrepreneurs to foster collaborative efforts in developing use of research tangibly at an early stage. Upon discussions with partners, the Institute agrees that the standard quantum measurement as part of frontier research in quantum technology, the Ministry of Higher Education, Science, Research, and Innovation has placed this in policy and plan for the years 2020 to 2027. And the quantum technology researchers have impressively progressed. Therefore, we agreed that organizing an academic forum on a broad view of quantum technology would promote importance and necessity in developing quantum measurement standards, which will promote confidence and attract investments, high-tech industry to the country. This is because quantum technology is expected to be a game changer in technology of the 21st century. Therefore, the Institute for the Institute, together with the Program Management Unit for Human Resources and Institutional Development, Research and Innovation Thailand, and other partners in quantum technology research, has organized an international conference and roundtable on quantum technology research initiative, challenges and possibilities. For today and for tomorrow, we are all honored that the minister has agreed to preside over the opening session and give a special talk on the importance of investment in frontier research to develop foundation knowledge for the future progress, to lay the basis and policy for stakeholders to consider and plan accordingly, and for stakeholders in the frontier research to consider and plan as well. The conference and the roundtable talks taking place today and tomorrow consists of 1. The presentation of policy and progress in the international quantum technology research. The roundtable talks on the concept and broad view of quantum technology and presentation of potential researches. And 3. International conferences. We also have the pleasure of welcoming executives of quantum technology research units and the head of prominent research projects from 6 countries: Canada, USA, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, and Singapore. The Thai quantum tech researchers come from all research groups, including Suratnari University Technology, Mahidol University, Prince Songkla University, Chulalongkorn University, Chiang Mai University, King Mongkut University Technology Thunburi, Thammasat University, Burapha University, Khon Kaen University, and Kasetsat University, and the National Science and Technology Development Agency. Policymakers and planning related to entrepreneurs, innovators, youth, students, and those who are interested in quantum technology have confirmed to attend the event in these 2 days. And now, without further ado, I would like to invite the minister to give a special talk and mark the opening of this international conference.
ศึกษาวิทยาศาสตร์วิจัยและนวัตกรรมกล่าวเปิดงานอย่างเป็นทางการและแสดงปาฐกถาครับผมขออนุญาตกล่าวแนะนำดังนี้นะครับศาสตราจารย์พิเศษดร.อเนกเหล่าธรรมทัศน์รัฐมนตรีว่าการกระทรวงการอุดมศึกษาวิทยาศาสตร์วิจัยและนวัตกรรมท่านสำเร็จการศึกษาระดับปริญญาเอกด้านรัฐศาสตร์จากมหาวิทยาลัยโคลัมเบียประเทศสหรัฐอเมริกาศาสตราจารย์อเนกเป็นนักวิชาการด้านรัฐศาสตร์ที่สำคัญของไทยมีผลงานวิชาการทั้งในรูปแบบบทความและหนังสือและที่ได้รับการจดจำและวิพากษ์วิจารณ์อย่างสูงคือทฤษฎี2 นักคราประชาธิปไตยที่นำเสนอสภาพปรากฏการณ์ทางการเมืองไทยระหว่างปี 2533 ถึง 2536 ท่านมีความสนใจที่กว้างขวางทั้งประวัติศาสตร์ปรัชญาเศรษฐศาสตร์และรัฐศาสตร์เมื่อท่านเข้ามารับผิดชอบกระทรวงการอุดมศึกษาวิทยาศาสตร์วิจัยและนวัตกรรมหรืออว.แล้วก็ได้มีนโยบายสำคัญหลายด้านที่สร้างมิติใหม่ให้กับกระทรวงอว.เช่นโครงการสุวรรณภูมิศึกษาเพื่อแสดงให้เห็นโลกว่าคนไทยมีอารยธรรมและส่งเสริมด้านการท่องเที่ยวและเศรษฐกิจโครงการมหาวิทยาลัยสู่ตำบลเพื่อสร้างรากแก้วให้ประเทศโครงการทางวิทยาศาสตร์และการวิจัยเพื่อแสดงศักยภาพทางวิชาการของประเทศไทยเช่นการสนับสนุนโครงการ Bio Circular Green หรือ BCG Economy และโครงการสำรวจอวกาศที่มีเป้าหมายในการส่งดาวเทียมที่ออกแบบและสร้างโดยคนไทยไปสำรวจดวงจันทร์รวมถึงการจัดตั้งวิทยาสถานสังคมศึกษามนุษยศาสตร์และศิลปกรรมศาสตร์แห่งประเทศไทยหรือทัชชา Thailand Academy for Social Science Humanities and Arts ซึ่งถือได้ว่าเป็นการก่อตั้งองค์กรการวิจัยด้านสังคมศาสตร์มนุษยศาสตร์และศิลปกรรมระดับชาติขึ้นเป็นครั้งแรกครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะขอแนะนำเป็นภาษาอังกฤษนะคะ Professor Anek Lau Thammathat is the Minister of Higher Education, Science, Research and Innovation. He received his PhD in Political Science from Columbia University in the United States. He's been a prominent political thinker of Thailand and published a number of academic articles and books. The most recognizable work is the book named A Tale of Two Democracies, explaining the characteristics of Thai democracy during the year of 1990 and 1993. He has much interest in history, philosophy, economics, and political science. With this, he has initiated a number of policies that created new dimension to the ministry. These include Suvarnabhumi Study Project, Biocircular Green or BCG Economy Policy, and Space Frontier to be able to send satellites to probe the moon in 2027. Most importantly, his role in establishing Thailand Academy of Social Science and Humanities and Arts will give the first national research institute devoted entirely for social science, humanities, and arts. ขอบคุณค่ะ so ลำดับต่อไปขอเชิญProfessor อเนกเหล่าธรรมทัศน์ขึ้นเวทีได้เลยค่ะ
ท่านผู้อำนวยการสถาบันมาตรวิทยาแห่ง
of the
ชาติ
National Institute of Meteorology, Director of Program Management Unit for Human Resources, International Institutional Development, Research and Innovation, Thailand, quantum technology researchers, the research community, all youth and all of you, passionate in knowledge and research. I am very honored and glad and waiting for today. I take the pleasure of admiring the National Institute of Meteorology to organize the event today, which has a very brief time for preparation. It includes the roundtable with Thai scientists and researchers, numerous of them from many institutions in Thailand, as mentioned earlier by the director. And we have prominent experts who have accepted to be keynote speakers for this event. We have a broad view of quantum technology today. May I take this opportunity to mention an overview to all of you who are mostly focused in specialized areas, and perhaps we may not have an overview of the direction of the countries of Thailand's progress or directions. To advance the science and technology in the country. I will take only a moment of your time to inform you about Thailand's intention to become a developed country. In the year 2580 BE, which is about 18 years from now. We aim to be a developed country. From the standpoint of the ministry, we want to be the Ministry of Science and Technology and Innovation at the level of the developed country within the next 10 years. Which is the year of 2031. These two issues are our solid commitments. The aim is clear, and we have a super indicator, a single indicator. The country has to be a developed country at the end of the National Strategic Plan. At the year 2580 BE, we have to be a developed country. We may not be at the forefront of developed countries, but we may be in there. The ministry is adamantly determined to provide our efforts and budget to push forward the research and all advancements into a league of developed countries within the next 10 years. So therefore, we cannot just work aimlessly. We cannot just do research aimlessly, but we must do research for specific organizations like the National Institute of Meteorology and the Institute of Astrology to have research works and outcomes at the forefront in the world. In the past, what we have done these works without a particular clear direction, and now we have to be more specific in our goals and put all our effort into this to put ourselves in that league of developed countries. We will be able to achieve the status of developed countries by putting effort into two aspects, two branches. One is to use science and technology as research. All our science and technology branches are trying to do this. The other branch is a creative economy branch, which includes all aspects in terms of arts. We must continue moving forward in these two branches. The question is thus, can we move forward simultaneously with both these branches? I believe we can. In this current situation, we have been able to come out of the crisis of COVID-19. We have been able to develop vaccines to fight COVID-19. These are indicators to fight COVID-19, such as we can make the PPE uniforms, and we can also create positive pressure chambers at an economically, and we can also be quite competitive in terms of cost with those from international markets, which are quite pricey. We can also produce vaccines, two types in particular, in the final phases of experimenting in human subjects. And hopefully by next year, we will be able to provide them to the people of Thailand. So we are no less competitive than others. We may be a bit slow in terms of month or year, but we will not stop. We will not only purchase vaccines from others. We will not do like before, where we only purchase international technology. We have to be able to produce our own outcomes that are competitive to that of the international market. Such as the mobile units of negative pressure units. These are the indicators showing our trends that we can become at the forefront of the development of these technology. We are also interested in pushing forward space technologies in terms of rockets and robots in space, such as spacecrafts which are controlled from a distance of 400,000 kilometers away. These are indicators of how we can be a developed country. And these are just some of the examples that I'm mentioning. Very few people have known that Thailand in the past has also shown progress in engineering. But we did not use this word in the past, but we have had these things in the past. Way in the time where the ancient city of Ayutthaya was capital of Thailand, we have seen the construction of pagodas, which have high multiple layers and a sharp top, or the Golden Mountain Pagoda, which is around the height of a 20-story building. Where did these ancient people have found ways to construct a 20-story structure? They found out that they have a large base and the width gradually decreasing until it reaches the very top. It was built with permanent material like cement, which allowed the pagoda to still exist today. It is still existing today. This is a very good example that Thai ancestors have good and strong knowledge in technology. They did not use foundations. It was made from wood, and they built the pagoda on top of that wooden foundation. And the pagoda still exists today. The Empire State Building has existed over 100 years. The World Trade Center has existed for 40 years, even though it exists no more. Through the actions of the terrorist attacks and collapsed. Whereas the Empire State Building is still existing. And we hope that the technology by the Westerns, we hope that the Empire State Building can exist as long as possible, just like the pagoda existed in Ayutthaya for Thailand. Well, the Empire State Building is, of course, occupied by people, and it is much more modern than the Phukhao Tower or the Golden Mountain Pagoda. I'm just mentioning because many have little technology involved, but we do. There is a lot of evidence that Thai ancestors have great knowledge in architectural structures, that to be able to construct such huge structures. Even far beyond Ayutthaya, we have the era of Tawaravadi and Lawo, which is the era that existed even before Ayutthaya. In that time, Thailand did not exist yet. We were a cluster of people still scattered around. In that era, we have many stupas, which are ancient architectural structures similar to Indian and Chinese structures. The stupa at Sithe is no less magnificent than those at India or China. It is huge, no less than many structures in the world. Those living in Lopburi or Phetchabun provinces may not be aware of this, but if you look closely, you will be amazed at the achievements of Thai ancestors. Now, not Thai people, Thai ancestors, even far beyond Ayutthaya era, such as in Tawaravadi and Lawo eras, they also have great abilities in engineering. Even before that, we have during the civilization, during the Suvarnabhumi era, and even from Yunnan province, all parts of Thailand, from the northern, northeastern, and other parts of the region, was all under the Suvarnabhumi kingdom. Most residents or civilians were farmers who did not have sophisticated technology. They did not do many sophisticated things. They did, although created the beads. These beads were also discovered in India and also China around 2,500 years ago. Around 2,000 to 2,500 years ago. Where we found the beads contained with Buddha's remains. These beads that was placed in an urn that King Asok Maharaj has divided into different parts and disseminated the parts to regions in India. That urn containing the remains of the Buddha, they found the beads that was actually created around the region of Thailand. Whereas in China, they found the beads in the Han Dynasty around 2,000 to 2,500 years ago. We found it in the cemetery of the emperor of the Han Dynasty. China at the time is known as the world's civilized regions as India, but these two regions actually use beads that were found in Thailand, in the Thai region. They took the best beads made in the world from Suvarnabhumi area. We also found these beads in the Chomon era in South Korea. What is interesting is that in Suvarnabhumi era, the province of Lopburi is a very well known that Lopburi has copper and lead materials. We also have tin. So we could create brass, which is copper plus tin. We have a location and we have the resources. We have the advanced knowledge at the time to create these metals and combine metals. We can mold structures like Buddha sculptures or images. But the most important aspect I want to point out is that no matter China or India, civilization comes with wealth. Unlike Suvarnabhumi, where civilization was not based from wealth, but was based from sufficiency, because mostly they were farmers, but not farmers like in the Western world. They're not peasants. From peasants, there are also skilled workers or skilled workers which is different from Thailand, because Thai farmers or peasants are rather simple, but they have very, very good skills. Today we even see that from the arts and crafts are highly skilled, although they are not wealthy. Thai food is known for its delicious taste. With these delicious tastes, some Westerns would be found in restaurants, but we can find these delicious dishes in Thailand at the local cost. And the people who are cooking these dishes for us are just simple people. So we have to come out the trap that frames us in believing that we cannot do this because we don't have money, because we are able to create these crafts, these skills, even though we don't have that level of wealth. This is evidence from Tawarawadi and Lawo eras. I'm going back to Suvarnabhumi era to show you that, to tell you that you don't have to have that much wealth to have that kind of skills or advancements. So therefore, we are able to achieve advanced science and technology without being wealthy like other wealthy countries. We do not have to have that high-end income like the Western countries. We can be sufficient. Sufficient doesn't mean that we have to be poor, but we have to be sufficient. We don't have to be wealthy. We can still be advanced. We have to think like our ancestors. We have to have passion like our ancestors. I have seen beautiful arts in Thailand in the Tawarawadi period, all the way to the early Bangkok period called Ratanakosin era. This is created based on the passion and their beliefs towards the gods. And they have been able to craft these beautiful creations based on their passion. Thailand is ready in science technology as well as crafts and arts, in social science. You can see that from the works today and also in the past. And we don't have to be wealthy. We don't have to wait until the GDP to achieve the level at the developed country. We can still be a developed country even though our GDP is not that high, because we have done that in the past. In creative economy has mentioned this a lot already, and I would like to emphasize here briefly that we have to progress forward in these two branches, which is science and technology as well as arts. And here today we're here to progress in the branch of science technology. And today we are talking about quantum technology. As the director has mentioned that this is a game changer, I would like to mention that today's changes is very rapid and disruptive. We use the term disruptive change where we allow these technologies that are emerging and occur and change our ways of life. Most Thai people are concerned or threatened about this, but I don't want Thai people to say that, because Thai people have been able to survive these disruptive changes since the past. In the situation of COVID-19, we are also surviving and coping well with the changes. We have to be able to deal with this disruptive change. We have done it well so far. We have embraced the Industrial 4.0, which is the Industrial Revolution, using science advancement as a basis of development, focusing on the BCG. The BCG is the aim. With the 4.0 revolutionize, which includes robotics industry, artificial intelligence, and Internet of Things, and we will choose to proceed with the discipline that we are known to be strong for, like BCG. Once we mention about BCG is that we don't leave behind our farmers. We will bring them along and try to enhance their products, their agricultural products, add value to their products. And we will never leave behind the farmers, which are the majority of this country. In regards of C and G, it sounds like they are for developed countries. Most developed countries tackle C and G. We can do that too. What is more challenging for us is that how might we enhance our B, which is our agricultural fields, to a level of B at the Western countries? How might we advance our farmers to that level? The fact that we have the disruptive change, it also means that we have competition. How can we catch up with the other advanced countries in this era? America and Thailand are all new players in this game-changing technology. We have to be able to compete in this era. Our sciences must be able to compete in this era, and therefore I have requested support for this. I would like to suggest that our advancement in science and technology is already good, but we have to put forward the issues that will push our country forward into a developed country. Now, the 4.0 industrial revolution, it very much depends on the speed of information, of the power of computing. It depends on artificial intelligence and robotics technology. Without the 4G and 5G telecommunication networks, the Industrial 4.0 will not be possible, especially with the 5G communication networks will help with the development of the Industrial 4.0. But then we're now talking about 5.5G, 6G, 7Gs. Especially right now, we're talking about the advanced countries in the world like America and China are talking about quantum. It requires knowledge in quantum physics, quantum computing, quantum communication. And together we call it quantum physics and quantum technology. And after I have discussed with the director, Dr. Ganyawin, we have to tap into this technology as soon as possible. We have to put importance on this quantum world. We have to be in the forefront of Asia and not far from the global leaders. Once the world enters into the quantum era, we will enter into a new competition. We will do it with strategic approaches. We cannot do everything. We have to select the most important fields. I believe that quantum is one of the fields that we must push. We must focus. I have discussed this with many quantum researchers already. And these are young researchers in their 30s and 40s. And these scientists and researchers will be leading Thailand to the developed country by using quantum technology to the level that we are in the leaders in this world. Whatever we can lead, we should do. We must do. And we cannot take small steps. If we can leap, taking a giant steps, we must take it. Those who can pursue in quantum technology knowledge must be knowledgeable, must have passion in knowledge. Scientists can not only pursue their passion in science, but they must do something useful for the country as well. Now we're not talking about physical battles, we're talking about competition. In economics, in particular, we have to base our economic competition based on science and technological advancements. When I talk about the developments and advancement in the QTRI ancient eras, I want you to think about how we can also proceed and progress, just like the Greeks, Romans, and Indians. And we are standing here today on the land that our ancestors have succeeded in progressing the advancements. The science and technology that is a game changer we're talking about today. Whereas many organizations have helped discovered that these ancient discoveries have achieved. We did not only learn from Western knowledge, but we still believe that we are poor and negative mindset of the country. We must not think like that. We have to believe that we are capable. We can compete. We are able to achieve this. But don't just think about budget, even though it is important, but you have to have passion and you have to have motivation. You have to do it with the love and passion for your home country. And we have to proceed in progress in quantum technology with the world. We have always embraced knowledge from scientists from around the world. I would like to thank the researchers and scientists around the world who are here with us today. And we are happy that you are here to share your knowledge with our Thai researchers. Let us come together and collaborate and share limitless knowledge. We are Thai people who embrace the benefits of the world. And this is my hopes that I would like to leave it with the National Institute of Metrology and our quantum researchers. And I hope that the roundtable talks happening today take place and be successful. And I hope that we can disseminate and spread the news and the knowledge here. Thank you very much. Thank you.
ผมขอเชิญอาจารย์วรวัฒน์มีวาสนานะครับจะมารายงานความก้าวหน้าการวิจัยเทคโนโลยีควอนตัมในประเทศไทยกันครับผมขอกล่าวบทแนะนำดังนี้นะครับ รองศาสตราจารย์ดรวรวัฒน์มีวาสนาเป็นนักฟิสิกส์ทดลองทางด้านควอนตัมท่านจบการศึกษาระดับปริญญาเอกสาขาฟิสิกส์จากมหาวิทยาลัยสแตนฟอร์ดประเทศสหรัฐอเมริกาปัจจุบันท่านดำรงตำแหน่งรองศาสตราจารย์และคณบดีสำนักวิทยาศาสตร์มหาวิทยาลัยเทคโนโลยีสุรานารีงานวิจัยของท่านเน้นด้านค้นหาและเข้าใจถึงสถานะทางควอนตัมที่มีเอกลักษณ์ต่างๆโดยเฉพาะใน transition metal oxides dichalcogenide และวัสดุการประกอบทางคาร์บอนนะครับ
ขอบคุณค่ะขอแนะนำเป็นภาษาอังกฤษด้วยนะคะ Associate Professor Warawat Miwasana is an experimental quantum physicist. He received his PhD in physics from Stanford University in the United States. He's now Associate Professor at Suranadi University of Technology, Thailand. His research interest is in exploring and understanding unique quantum states of matter, especially in transition metal oxides, dichalcogenides, and carbon-based materials. ค่ะขอเชิญอาจารย์วรวัฒน์ขึ้นเลยค่ะ
Greetings to all. Minister, Adjunct Professor Dr. Anek Lautamatat, executives, researchers in quantum, and honorable guests. My name is Warawat Mimasana. I'd like to present the progress of the quantum tech research in Thailand. If we go back in time, we will see that the potential of quantum technology has so much potential that you can see many countries around the world like China, America, and Europe have invested in this technology. So the question is, what can Thailand do? The good point is that quantum technology is still quite a new area. There is a lot still to be explored. So we should be able to select the field that we can be good in. Thailand has been investing in humanware by sending our students to study and train at world-leading universities. So if we come and look into the area of quantum technology, we find that the researchers in Thailand, there are about 100 people, with 30 people as PI or principal investigators. And here are the quantum researchers from many institutions from all over Thailand. So let's come and look at the publications in physics. If we look into publications, there may not be so many, but we have high quality publications. If we look at Q1 publication journals, Thailand has a very good record. If we look at certain indicators like citations, if we look into the group of quantum publications, we can see that the records are quite outstanding. And we are also in the phase of establishing labs. Coming back to the Thai quantum researchers, we have been in brainstorming to create a roadmap of 3 years, 6 years from now, what we are going to do in terms of quantum technology, quantum computing. So we want to create more awareness in terms of knowledge and education, and the manpower we need to achieve that. And there's also the unit called the Program Management Unit for Human Resources and Institutional Development, Research and Innovation to support the quantum research manpower. So there are 3 groups, including the quantum metrology and sensing by Dr. Saiti. The second group is regarding quantum metrology and sensing. And the third group is about the collaboration and support of the ecosystem for the quantum technology at the national level. In the past year, we have created a lot of publications which are high impact, as shown here, such as in Applied Physics Review or Physical Review. So you can see that if we can get the proper support, we will be able to drive the research effectively. In terms of other researchers, we are looking into groups dealing with quantum qubit and quantum sensing, and also quantum metrology, touching the areas of the optical clocks and GPS, and then also quantum-based impedance standards. We're also looking into quantum simulation using machine learning. And we're also looking into quantum argument simulations. Enabling applications where computers can understand publications, which uses machine learning and AI to help. There's also the field of quantum communication, which is mentioned in the earlier talk today. As we all know that with quantum computers, there are imminent risks. Therefore, we need secure communication. In terms of the dissemination, we have interest from the private sector. We have interest from private sectors which are interested in the negative electronic compressibility, which can be used in the batteries, enabling to be more efficient and higher lifetime. Another private sector would be the Thai startup called QTFT, Quantum Technology Foundation Thailand, which will be mentioned later on. Apart from the collaboration and consortium within the country in Thailand, we also received very good collaboration at the international level. There are connections with prominent universities and institutions. So we will be creating an ecosystem, and we will walk along this road together. And apart from as researchers in quantum technology, we also have a group study. We also have the study of another field, which is aimed at high schools to undergraduates, which is presented by Ms. Pitaya Chamnangun, who is passionate in social science and also digital technology. And she will be talking about quantum economy.
หากการก้าวข้ามอดีตในยุคอนาล็อกเสมือนทำให้โลกทั้งใบเหลือเพียงแค่คลิกเดียวประวัติศาสตร์บอกกับเราว่าพลังของนักเศรษฐศาสตร์โทมัสมัลทัสได้คาดการณ์ว่าโลกจะไม่มีอาหารเพียงพอสำหรับประชากรจำนวน 1,000 ล้านคนไม่นานหลังจากนั้นเกเกิลเมนเดลเริ่มเพาะพันธุ์ถั่วอย่างสมถะในสวนหลังบ้านและต่อมาเขาได้กลายเป็นบิดาแห่งพันธุกรรมสมัยปัจจุบันเพราะถึงแม้ว่าโลกยังดิ้นรนอยู่กับการหาอาหารด้วยประชากร 1,600 ล้านคนในปีค.ศ. 1900แต่ในประชากรในขณะนั้นได้แต่ในขณะนั้นประชากรโลกได้พุ่งสูงไปถึง 6,000 ล้านคนในปีค.ศ. 2000และปัจจุบันเรามีประชากรประมาณ 7,800 ล้านคนแต่เราสามารถผลิตอาหารสำหรับคนได้ถึง 10,000 ล้านคนการคาดการณ์หลังจากนั้นก็ได้ผิดคาดเช่นเดียวกันโทมัส วัตสันผู้จัดการ IBM ในปีค.ศ. 1943ได้กล่าวว่าโลกคงมีคอมพิวเตอร์ได้เพียงแค่5เครื่องในปีค.ศ. 1980บริษัทยักษ์ใหญ่ทางด้านคำปรึกษาทางธุรกิจแมคเคนซี่ได้คาดการณ์ปริมาณการใช้มือถือในปีค.ศ. 2000ได้อย่างผิดมหันต์ซึ่งมันไม่ถึง 1% ของจำนวนตัวเลขจริงเราต้องไม่มองข้ามพลังของเทคโนโลยีและขวายคว้าหาโอกาสจากคลาวด์คอมพิวติ้งที่ขณะนี้บริษัทต่างๆโดยเฉพาะอย่างยิ่ง Google IBM Amazon Microsoft รวมถึง Alibaba Tencent Baidu หัวเว่ยที่กำลังให้บริการทางควอนตัมคอมพิวติ้งอยู่ในขณะนี้ทีมของเราซึ่งประกอบไปด้วยนักควอนตัมฟิสิกส์และนักธุรกิจที่ดีที่สุดและเก่งที่สุดในประเทศไทยฝันที่จะได้ขับเคลื่อนควอนตัมคอมพิวติ้งของโลกไปสู่งานวิจัยระดับโลกเช่นการสร้างรหัสลับป้องกันในธุรกิจการเงินการพัฒนาพลังงานที่ยั่งยืนในแบตเตอรี่และการค้นคว้าเทคโนโลยีชีวภาพในปุ๋ยเป็นต้นงานวิจัยที่ไม่สามารถเป็นไปได้ที่ต้องใช้เวลาในการแยกข้อมูลเป็นเวลาหลายล้านปีโดยคอมพิวเตอร์สมัยปัจจุบันนี้จะใช้เวลาเพียงไม่กี่นาทีด้วยคอมพิวเตอร์ควอนตัมในอนาคตได้และทีมของเรากำลังทำวิจัยที่สำคัญเกี่ยวกับผลกระทบทางเศรษฐกิจของการทำงานแบบควอนตัมงานวิจัยนี้อยู่ภายใต้การดูแลของนักวิทยาศาสตร์ควอนตัมคอมพิวติ้งระดับประเทศและโครงการนี้จะเป็นชีวิตและจิตวิญญาณของนักเรียนนักศึกษาที่จะก้าวขึ้นมาเป็นผู้นำรุ่นใหม่ในอนาคตมัธยมที่ศึกษาด้วยตนเอง2 คนที่รักคอมพิวเตอร์และภาษาเป็นชีวิตและจิตวิญญาณระดับปริญญาตรีเป็นนักศึกษาทางคอมพิวเตอร์จากมหาวิทยาลัยเทคโนโลยีสุรนารีสากลสาขาเศรษฐศาสตร์2 คนจากมหาวิทยาลัยธรรมศาสตร์ทางด้านคณิตศาสตร์ของทุนพสวทจากวิทยาลัยคาริตันสหรัฐอเมริกาทางด้านนาฏศาสตร์ของทุนพสวทจาก Imperial College สหราชอาณาจักรทางด้านวิศวกรรมศาสตร์ของทุนรัฐบาลญี่ปุ่นจากมหาวิทยาลัยโทโฮกุและระดับปริญญาโท2 คนทางด้านควอนตัมคอมพิวติ้งอีโคโนมีจากมหาวิทยาลัยเทคโนโลยีสุราษฎร์ธานีผู้นำรุ่นใหม่ของประเทศต้องไม่ตกลดค่าเที่ยวรถไฟแห่งเทคโนโลยีเหมือนรุ่นที่ผ่านมามีข้อคิดมากมายทานินของเราพ่ายแพ้ต่อซัมซุงและโซนี่เพราะรัฐบาลของประเทศพวกเขาคอยค้ำจุนบริษัทเหล่านี้ในเทคโนโลยีที่สร้างความเปลี่ยนแปลงอย่างใหญ่หลวงต่อโลกเราต้องไม่เป็นแค่เดทรอยต์ของเอเชียแต่ในขณะเดียวกันเราก็ไม่สามารถทำรถไฟแบบทำเองได้ทั้งคันหากเราไม่ได้อยู่ในแนวหน้าของความรู้ทางวิทยาศาสตร์ในด้านการจัดเก็บพลังงานเราจะเป็นคอของโลกไม่ได้ถ้าปราศจากความเป็นเลิศทางไบโอเทคโนโลยีแล้วก็มาถึงคำกล่าวสุดท้ายของการนำเสนอในครั้งนี้ยกตัวอย่างประเทศสิงคโปร์ไต้หวันและเกาหลีใต้ประเทศเหล่านี้เคยยากจนกว่าเรามาก่อนแต่ในขณะนี้ได้กลายเป็นประเทศที่ได้รับการกล่าวขานมากมายเพราะประเทศเหล่านี้ได้มุ่งมั่นและทำงานอย่างหนักเกี่ยวกับเทคโนโลยีที่สร้างความเปลี่ยนแปลงอย่างใหญ่หลวงต่อโลกถึงเวลาแล้วหรือยังที่จะต้องถามตัวเองว่าประเทศไทยจะก้าวสู่เศรษฐกิจที่ขับเคลื่อนด้วยนวัตกรรมให้ยั่งยืนได้อย่างไรออกจากอนาล็อกในอดีตเข้าถึงดิจิตอลในปัจจุบันพุ่งสู่ควอนตัมในอนาคตขอบคุณค่ะ
ขอบคุณนะครับ
โอเคค่ะขอบคุณมากค่ะอาจารย์วรวัฒน์สำหรับรายงานการวิจัยของประเทศของเรานะคะเราเห็นกันไปแล้วว่ามีpublication มากมายแล้วก็เห็นว่าพวกเรามีศักยภาพมีนักวิจัยที่เป็นทั้งนักศึกษาแล้วก็นักวิจัยอาจารย์ต่างๆจากมหาวิทยาลัยหลายๆแห่งในประเทศเลยนะคะถ้าอย่างนั้นช่วงนี้ก่อนที่เราจะข้ามไปภาษาอังกฤษนะคะซึ่งตอนนี้กำลังน่าจะรอเวลาก่อนให้ดร. Professor Dimitris เข้ามาก่อนเพราะฉะนั้นช่วงนี้อยากจะขอแนะนำช่วงอาจจะขอแนะนำเป็นภาษาอังกฤษก่อนแล้วกันนะคะเดี๋ยวอาจารย์ทิพย์จะแปลเป็นภาษาไทยนะคะโอเคทีนี้ในช่วงบ่ายนะคะช่วงบ่ายจะมี I forgot sorry in the afternoon sessions so today we're going to have a panel discussion and the panel discussion is going to be totally in Thai, but just to get you excited about who's going to be the speakers in the panel discussions. One of them, we will have 3 sessions. One of them is the computing, quantum computing and the simulation, which is going to be Dr. Pimonpan Sompet from Chiang Mai University, Dr. Jirawat Tangpanitanont from Quantum Technology Foundation Thailand, and then Dr. Thanet Puttivarasinจาก QTRI Quantum Technology Foundation Thailand as well, and then Dr. Nithivadi Thai Jareun from Chiang Mai University and Dr. Thiparat Chotibut นะคะผู้ที่เป็น MC from Chulalongkorn University. And then we have the second part which is quantum communication. Then we have 4 in the panel discussion. We have Dr. Phumpong Chaiwongkot from Mahidol University, Dr. Prit Kalasuwan from Prince Songkhla University, Dr. Nawat Kamon Watana จาก Communication Engineering and Telecommunication expert, and then Dr. Wudichai Chongjimet นะคะจาก Chulalongkorn University. And then the third one would be the quantum metrology, which is we have 5 people on the panel discussion, and Dr. Ratakorn from National Institute for Metrology Thailand, Dr. Piyapat Puntong also from National Institute of Metrology Thailand, and then Dr. Sivini Sawattiari also from NIMT, and then Dr. Sarawit Sang Thavisin จาก Suranani University of Technology, and then Dr. Sarayut Desha Punya from Burapha University ค่ะ
ครับในระหว่างที่เรารอเซสชั่นถัดไปโดยศาสตราจารย์ดร.ดิมิทริสนะครับเดี๋ยวผมขอกล่าวว่าเสวนาในช่วงบ่ายนี้จะมีเซสชั่นอะไรบ้างเราจะมีอยู่3เซสชั่นเป็นภาษาไทยล้วนนะครับ3เซสชันนี้ก็จะมีเซสชันที่เราคุยกันในเชิง panel discussion มีการคำนวณเชิงควอนตัมและการจำลองเชิงควอนตัมหรือว่าในชื่อที่เรียกว่า quantum computing and simulation อย่างที่2 panel ก็คือ quantum communication หรือการสื่อสารเชิงควอนตัมและอย่างสุดท้าย quantum metrology นะครับการวัดเชิงควอนตัมนะครับสำหรับเซสชันแรก quantum computingและ simulation นะครับ panel list ของเราก็จะประกอบด้วย5ท่านนะครับมีผมเองอาจารย์ธิปราชแล้วก็มีอาจารย์พิมลพันธ์จากมหาวิทยาลัยเชียงใหม่มีอาจารย์ดร.จิรวัตรจาก QTFT นะครับอาจารย์ธเนศจาก QTFT เช่นกันแล้วก็อาจารย์ดร.นิธิวดีจากมหาวิทยาลัยเชียงใหม่เซสชั่นถัดไปนะครับ Quantum Communication หรือการสื่อสารเชิงควอนตัมมี panelist ทั้งหมด4ท่านนะครับมีดร.ภูมิพงษ์จากมหาวิทยาลัยมหิดลอาจารย์ดร.พฤษนะครับจากมหาวิทยาลัยสงขลานครินทร์อาจารย์ดร.วุฒิชัยจากจุฬาลงกรณ์มหาวิทยาลัยแล้วก็อาจารย์นวัฒน์นะครับเป็นผู้เชี่ยวชาญทางด้าน Communication Technology สุดท้าย panel ของ Quantum Metrology เราประกอบด้วย panelist 5 ท่านนะครับมีดร.รัชกรจากสถาบันมาตรวิทยาจริงๆมีจากมาตรวิทยา3ท่านเลยมีดร.รัชกรดร.ปยพัฒน์แล้วก็ดร.ศิวินีอีก2ท่านมาจากท่านแรกมาจากมหาวิทยาลัยเทคโนโลยีสุรนารีนะครับอาจารย์ดร.สรวิทย์แล้วก็อีกท่านอาจารย์จากมหาวิทยาลัยบุรพาอาจารย์ดร.สลายุทธนะครับอันนี้เป็นเซสชั่นคร่าวๆสำหรับคนไทยช่วงบ่ายเราสามารถยิงคำถามตอบกันได้ทาง Facebook Live หรือคนที่อยู่ใน Zoom อยู่แล้วก็สามารถทักเข้ามาใน Chat Box ได้ครับ
ค่ะถ้าอย่างนั้นเราคงจะต้องเปิดให้พักสักประมาณ5 นาทีดีกว่านะคะเพราะว่าตอนนี้คงจะต้องรอสปีกเกอร์คนถัดไปก่อนProfessor Dimitris ตอนนี้เท่าที่เข้าใจคือกำลังอยู่ในประชุมอีกประชุมนึงอะค่ะเพราะฉะนั้นเขาก็จะใช้เวลาสักช่วงหนึ่งประมาณสัก 5-10 นาทีในการ transition จากmeeting อันที่แล้วมา meeting อันนี้นะคะถ้าอย่างนั้นขอพักสักประมาณ5 นาทีแล้วกันนะคะขอบคุณค่ะ
อนาคตที่ไม่มีใครรู้ล่วงหน้าความท้าทายที่เกินจะคาดเดา Climate Change เมื่อ 40 ปีที่แล้วเรายังถกเถียงกันว่าเป็นเรื่องจริงหรือไม่แล้วจะมีผลกระทบอย่างไร ไข้หวัดสเปนที่ระบาดเมื่อ100 ปีที่แล้วซาร์สและอีโบลาเคยทำให้บางประเทศกลายเป็นเมืองร้างในชั่วข้ามคืนณปัจจุบันเราสามารถป้องกันและควบคุมสาเหตุของการเกิดโรคระบาดอื่นๆได้แล้วหรือยังโควิด -19 ที่กำลังระบาดทุกวันนี้ทำให้คนทั้งโลกใช้ชีวิตกันอย่างยากลำบากสิ่งที่เราใช้รับมือวิกฤตการณ์คือความรู้และความร่วมมือในการแลกเปลี่ยนองค์ความรู้ที่ได้จากงานวิจัยจากทั่วโลกรวมถึงมาตรการเร่งด่วนและการอนุมัติวัคซีนเพื่อใช้ในสภาวะฉุกเฉินเราจึงได้วัคซีนใช้ในระยะเวลาเพียง1 ปีเศษจากปกติอาจต้องใช้เวลา 10-20 ปีเมื่ออนาคตข้างหน้าเป็นสิ่งที่เราไม่รู้และยากจะรู้อาวุธที่เราใช้ในการรับมือที่ดีที่สุดคือการเตรียมพร้อมทั้งด้านบุคลากรที่เชี่ยวชาญด้านองค์ความรู้และเทคโนโลยีขั้นสูงเครื่องมือและโครงสร้างพื้นฐานสำคัญที่พร้อมสำหรับการวิจัยและรับมือกับปัญหาในอนาคตสิ่งที่วันนี้อาจจะดูไม่จำเป็นสิ่งที่วันนี้ยังบอกไม่ได้ว่าจะใช้ประโยชน์อย่างไรแต่เมื่อวันที่เราต้องเผชิญกับวิกฤตการณ์ในอนาคตสิ่งเหล่านี้เองที่จะช่วยพลิกสถานการณ์แก้ปัญหาได้อย่างทันท่วงทีการวิจัยขั้นแนวหน้าหรือ Frontier Research จึงเป็นการวางแผนอนาคตเพื่อให้ประเทศไทยสามารถรับมือวิกฤตการณ์ด้วยวิทยาศาสตร์และเทคโนโลยี Health and Food Frontier ในด้านการแพทย์ขั้นแนวหน้าและอาหารเพื่ออนาคตเรามีโครงการ Genomics ประเทศไทยที่จะต่อยอดให้เราเป็นศูนย์กลางการแพทย์ทางด้านการบริการและรักษารวมถึงการวิจัยโดยเฉพาะด้านการแพทย์แม่นยำอนาคตเราจะสามารถผลิตยาและวัคซีนที่เหมาะสมกับคนไทยพร้อมรับมือโรคอุบัติใหม่และโรคอุบัติซ้ำเราจะสามารถผลิตอาหารเฉพาะบุคคลที่เสริมสร้างรักษาและป้องกันโรคจากพันธุกรรมของเราเองได้ควอนตัมฟรอนเทียร์มีความพร้อมในฐานะผู้ผลิตและผู้ใช้เทคโนโลยีควอนตัมด้านการคำนวณและการสื่อสารก่อเกิดความปลอดภัยและการพัฒนาประเทศให้ก้าวหน้าได้อย่างรวดเร็ว Earth Space System Frontier มีความรู้ระบบโลกและเทคโนโลยีอวกาศรับมือกับภัยธรรมชาติและการเปลี่ยนแปลงของโลกพร้อมก้าวสู่อุตสาหกรรมด้านอวกาศสร้างเศรษฐกิจแห่งอนาคต High Energy Physics Frontier นักวิจัยไทยเข้าร่วมโครงการวิจัยขั้นแนวหน้าระดับโลกร่วมพัฒนาองค์ความรู้ออกแบบเทคโนโลยีและวิศวกรรมขั้นสูงที่จะพัฒนาอุตสาหกรรมการแพทย์การเกษตรพลังงานและอุตสาหกรรมการผลิตแห่งอนาคตให้ก้าวหน้าอย่างรวดเร็วสร้างความมั่นคงและความมั่งคั่งให้กับประเทศและที่สำคัญด้วยโซเชียลฟรอนเทียร์เราจะได้เห็นคนไทยขับเคลื่อนนวัตกรรมทางสังคมเต็มเปี่ยมด้วยศักยภาพและความสร้างสรรค์มีเสรีภาพทางด้านความคิดและจิตใจบุกเบิกพรมแดนความรู้ใหม่พร้อมรับมือกับความท้าทายของโลกศตวรรษที่ 21 มุ่งเน้นที่จะยกระดับประเทศไทยให้มีศักยภาพที่จะสามารถแข่งขันกับนานาประเทศทั่วโลกไม่ว่าจะเป็นทางด้านเศรษฐกิจเทคโนโลยีและภาคอุตสาหกรรมก้าวสู่ความท้าทายใหม่กับการรังสรรค์งานวิจัยขั้นแนวหน้าเพื่อยกระดับประเทศไทยไปสู่ประเทศผู้นำด้านเทคโนโลยีและนวัตกรรมแห่งโลกอนาคตพลิกโฉมประเทศไทยไปพร้อมกับเรา Frontier Research
เดี๋ยวเรารอสปีกเกอร์ท่านต่อไปอีกสักพักนะครับไม่น่าจะเกิน 5-10 นาทีนี้ครับ Oh, hi, Dimitris. Good to see you. I think you are on mute.
Okay.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good morning. Sorry to keep you waiting, but busy day here in Singapore as well. We have a parallel event, and good to see you all.
Sorry, just a sec. A little bit of technical. Hello. So let us introduce you for the next session. Thank you very much for joining this morning, even if it's just a little bit late, but really appreciate your time today. So let me introduce you. Associate Professor Dimitris Angelakis is a principal investigator at Center for Quantum Technologies in Singapore and tenure associate professor at School of Electronic and Computer Engineering, Technical University of Crete in Greece. He received his PhD from Imperial College with several years of research experience and leading research groups. He has received several awards, including the Rory Mayorskov Award from University of London in 2000 and the Google Quantum Innovation Award in 2018. His work has appeared in Science, Nature, New Scientist, The Innovation Magazine, Physics World, and CNN, among others. He's also serving as National Quantum Network for preparation of the European flagship in quantum technology representing Greece.
Please allow me to introduce you in Thai as well. รองศาสตราจารย์ดร. Dimitris Angelakis เป็นหัวหน้ากลุ่มวิจัยณ Center for Quantum Technology ในสิงคโปร์นะครับและเป็นรองศาสตราจารย์วุฒิคุณณคณะวิศวกรรมอิเล็กทรอนิกส์และคอมพิวเตอร์มหาวิทยาลัยเทคโนโลยีแห่งเมืองครีตประเทศกรีซท่านสำเร็จการศึกษาระดับปริญญาเอกจาก Imperial College สหราชอาณาจักรมีประสบการณ์ทำงานในกลุ่มวิจัยชั้นนำของโลกและได้รับรางวัลมากมายอาทิเช่น Rory Mayorskov Award จาก University of London ในปี 2000 และล่าสุดได้รับรางวัล Google Quantum Innovation Award ในปี 2018 งานวิจัยของท่านได้ตีพิมพ์และรับความสนใจจากวารสารและแหล่งข่าวชั้นนำอาทิเช่น Science, Nature, New Scientist The Innovation Magazine, Physics World และ CNN เป็นต้นนอกจากนี้ยังเป็นตัวแทนประเทศกรีซในการเตรียมความพร้อมเข้าร่วมพันธมิตรการวิจัยควอนตัมเทคโนโลยีแห่งสหภาพยุโรปอีกด้วย
So Professor Angelakis, we are ready. Please take the stage.
Thank you all. Thank you very much. Great to be here. Let me share my screen. Can you see my slides?
Yes, perfect.
And it's moving. You see the changes, right?
Yep.
Okay,
and
great.
The sound is perfect too.
Good. Thanks for inviting me. It's great to be here. Sorry to keep you waiting, as I said earlier. As parallel event here as well. I would like to speak a little bit about what could you possibly do with a small, noisy prototype quantum computer in the next near-term future, I would say the next 3 to 5 years. So before I start, let me introduce a little bit my background and where I work. I am a group leader at the principal investigator at the Center for Quantum Technologies, or CQT. This is the first research center of excellence in Singapore. Was built, initiated roughly 15 years ago, almost now. It's kind of steady state within a few years, but roughly 20 groups and 200 researchers in all pillars of quantum technologies. We're funded by the Ministry of Education and the National Research Foundation. We hosted in one of the national universities, the National University of Singapore, but we have people from different universities working as group leaders, as PIs. We're working in many different areas, almost in all aspects of quantum technologies, quantum computing and simulation, on algorithms and quantum hardware. There is also a lot of activity in quantum safe communication, post-quantum cryptography and quantum key distribution theory and experiments, both as well, quantum sensors and quantum foundation, basic science, curiosity-led research for quantum technologies. So this is my group. Most of the work I'll talk about wouldn't be possible with the hard work of many students over various years. This is the latest composition of the group. And we have some alumni, some of them are here in the audience and in the my host today. And we had quite a few collaborations as well, ongoing with different groups and companies around the world. As mentioned, some of the we do have some interaction with Thailand from the past, mainly by my students, current and past students, including Chu. We had the honor to host Princess Sejdighorn a few years ago, a couple of years ago, in CQT to learn about quantum technologies and discuss with her in a very direct and answer all her interesting questions of quantum tech. It was a memorable evening. Quantum in Singapore. Quantum is growing in Singapore. I would like to say that except CQT, we have many different institutions and research groups. CQT is the main, I would say, in terms of strength and impact in quantum technologies, but there are people also in different places, and the ecosystem is growing. We are at the moment in our just the first year of the quantum engineering program. This is a national program connecting Singapore groups at different levels with a vision to really deliver impact on for Singapore user-defined challenges. So there's our director is Professor Alex Ling, and there's a steering committee, and we have 4 pillars: sensors, computing, security, and foundry. And I am actually the coordinator in the cloud quantum computing pillar, the collaborations with cloud providers. We have ongoing collaboration with IBM and other worldwide companies on quantum computing. So let's just go back to physics now a little bit. Let's talk about how all started. It all started in quantum physics, including the technology of our times is really research in quantum physics of the last century that led to technology we're using these days. This is what we call the first quantum revolution. Quantum physics not only changed the way we understand the world, but changed the world itself. Semiconductors work because of quantum physics. And now what I would like to talk is about the second quantum revolution, as we say, that is something that started almost 40 years ago. I mean, it was being discussed before, but kind of a milestone was this MIT conference in 1981, where Richard Feynman and Charlie Bennett, who worked for IBM and one of the founders of the field, have participated, and they have started discussing about the possibilities to actually use quantum physics to process information. And that was possible because technology was evolving at the same time, and we were reaching, especially the last 2 decades, at the level of manipulating atoms one by one, ions one by one, electrons one by one, and really explore entanglement and superposition from the quantum world to the real laboratory world. So I want to highlight the importance of basic science in this journey, in this global journey. The last 30 years, a lot of Nobel Prizes in fundamental physics and fundamental basic science allowed us to talk about quantum hardware and quantum computer these days. I'd like to highlight the 2012 Nobel Prize for groundbreaking experimental methods that enable exactly the manipulation of individual quantum systems. And 40 years on, all this collective work by many different disciplines and fields has led to what we call quantum computers and machines that can outperform, as we speak, classical computers. However, for non-useful problems yet. And I would like to highlight the quantum supremacy work by the Google group last year, where they managed to show that if you have 53 controllable qubits in a superconducting supercooled chip, you can actually simulate certain mathematical sampling problems from statistics that will take thousands of years in a classical machine. And this was actually proven. This is like a benchmark that quantum computers can outperform classical computers. And now the question is, can we turn that power to something useful? Soon after, I should mention, last year, after a year or so afterwards, there was another kind of quantum computational advantage optimism demonstration by a group in China, where they used photonic systems to demonstrate a similar mathematical demonstration, which again proved that this is possible. So let me go to what is important here when we talk about qubits and numbers, but you need to also be able to have small error rates per gate, per application of your processor. So where you are at this regime, where you have few or number of qubits, you can always simulate them classically. And there's some hype in terms of numbers. It doesn't matter how many qubits you have a lot. The important thing is to really be accurate, to make errors at least less than 10 to the minus 3, ideally. This regime, we just keep the regime globally, different applications, Google, but also Jaguar Spank Group, and more are coming as we speak. And the idea is to move further towards the applications. And ideally, if we could really get into this regime where this is the fully fault-tolerant, error-corrected quantum computers, this is really where the applications are. However, this seems to be very far for the moment, but nobody can, of course, predict when. I will talk about this area where it is more near-term, noisy, small prototype computers. When I say small, few hundred qubits, maybe 1,000 with some good error rates. Just a picture to have in mind where we are at the moment. Around 50 to 60 demonstrated and proven type of qubit applications. So many companies are building hardware, include, some of them spun out from universities using different technologies, superconducting, ions, photons, and a few spin-offs, as I mentioned. We also build qubits in different structures, ions, but also superconducting here at CQT. Here's a recent photo from a recent CQT quantum chip where we have 10 qubits fabricated. This is at the lab of Professor Dumke. This is the fridge that you put the chip to cool it down and operate it in liquid helium. And let me talk about what we can do. What are the killer quantum maps? What would you do if you had a large or a smaller quantum computer? Could you, for example, break encryption? I mean, there is, of course, the field started by Shor's algorithm. Some of you might have heard about it, where he actually said that if we have a quantum computer with enough qubits, we could break the RSA keys for cryptography. And this is extremely important because everybody has secrets. Everybody has to keep data secure for certain times, depending if you are a government or if you are an insurance company. I won't go through the details, but just to tell you that if we have the keys we're using these days is 2048 bits, it's almost impossible to break it with classical computers. You will need millions of CPU years, millions of hours in large supercomputing architectures. However, if you had a quantum computer with, roughly a few thousand controllable qubits, you could break it in a few hours. However, as I said, we are still not there yet, but nobody knows it might happen in the next decade. And if you are, end users of keeping data that you want to keep for larger than 10 years, you better act now. I think we'll hear more about it from Professor Mosca later on this, or earlier. I don't know if Michael spoke already. So let's talk about use cases with D&M quantum devices. I will highlight 3 areas: optimization problems, fast chemistry material simulations, and quantum machine learning for data predicting behavior. I will just highlight, in 25 minutes, there's not much time to go into detail, but happy to take some questions afterward. 1 or 2 examples from each area. So what I want to highlight first is that this NISQ, or this noisy quantum processor area, which is around 100 qubits, as I mentioned, which is what we will live for the next few years, to really get something out of the prototype processors, people have developed the field, the theorists, what we call a hybrid approach, where you use a classical and a quantum computer next to each other in collaboration. You use the quantum computer for the best parts that they can do to prepare states and measure exotic quantum states, exotic probability distributions. And then there's a way to map whatever problem you want to solve. In this case, is a molecular structure, for example, to an optimization problem, to a minimization of energy or a cost function type of problem. So in this case, having the two devices, the classical machine and the quantum machine working in parallel, you can actually achieve real-world solutions, or solutions for real-world problems with near-term devices, with small and prototype computers. And this is where we are at the moment for different disciplines. This is an example of a chemical calculating the ground state of a molecule. This will have applications in catalysts, in better batteries, and so on, which is very important. Just to give you a feeling, doing chemistry with classical computers is extremely tough. If you have 125 orbitals, electrons basically that you want to study, and which is just a small molecule, most materials are much bigger than that, you will need more memory than the atoms in the universe. So this is impossible with classical machines. A quantum computer would be able to model that with 250 qubits, basically 2 qubits per orbital for the spins. And what we hope to achieve, this is where we are now, small demonstrations. There have been experimental demonstrations on this, up to 12 atoms, 12 hydrogenic atoms in a chain by Google, for example, recently. Would like to enter this regime of a few hundred qubits, where we can start calculating small proteins, small macromolecules, and so on. Possible applications of this, for example, making fertilizer much more efficiently and much more cheaply, and saving energy. The way we make fertilizer now globally, we focus a process which is quite old, from the 2 centuries ago. We use a lot of high temperature, pressure. However, we know that nature does it better. There's this catalyst, this enzyme nitrogenase, that if you be able to use it, you can actually bring down the requirements to very, very low levels. However, for that, we will need to be able to take out of this is the whole kind of protein structure. Within it, there's this molecule which has a few dozens of atoms structure to simulate and understand the chemical reactions at this level. With classical computers, we cannot do so. We just do empirical testing and trying different things, or use this very old process. However, if we had a few hundred or maybe 1,000 qubits, it has been proven that we can actually really simulate and understand this reaction, and then put it in our labs, basically, and do what nature does in a controllable way, and really reduce the overheads of this kind of massive industrial facilities. Because we have huge applications in food production, for example, which is a big challenge for many countries and globally as well. In our group, we have been looking also at simulations of materials, understanding the complex interactions of electrons in real crystals, how disorder affects the conductivity properties. This is some work we've done a few years ago with the Google group on simulating in their quantum chips this realistic kind of interactions in kind of prototype, of course, models and scaled down environments. This is under this picture of what we call quantum simulators, again, originated by Feynman, that while you're trying to understand your complicated quantum system, and it's impossible to do usually any real scale classical simulations, we come up with simplified models. However, classical computers are even struggling to solve these ones. So what a controllable quantum simulator, now we call them quantum computers, the change difference is very small these days, is to build in a controllable way using atoms or cold atoms or ions in the lab and kind of realize this model that we have in our mind to that hopefully will describe the real crystal. Let's say there was a magnet or magnetized or non-magnetized behavior, whether it is a superconductor at certain temperature, or whether it's an insulator. There is an amazing family of applications if we can actually do this in a certain way, and we are doing it. We do have first hints that these systems exist and they can actually really outperform classical supercomputers for quantum matter problems. There is also a lot of stuff we can do in optimization for classical problems, not necessarily only quantum problems. Quantum problems are always tough for classical computers, but there are classical problems relevant to logistics, operation research, energy research that are also very hard for classical computers. And there are ways under what we call quantum optimization, quantum annealers, to solve those problems efficiently by mapping the problem at hand into a physical problem, collection of spins or little magnets. You cool them down, and then you find this kind of minimum that you are looking for in this optimization landscape. This could be a supply chain problem, or it could be an energy problem, or different applications, or even finance. I'll say a little bit more about this on facility location allocation, route optimization, capital budgeting, for example, task allocation problems. All these come under this kind of family of problems called quadratic unconstrained binary optimization. And classical computers are very, very slow and very struggling to solve such type of problems because they're what we call NP-hard problems. We are recently working, and part of the quantum engineering program is to apply those things in real world scenarios. We'll be working with Exxon Mobil and the Energy Center here in Singapore in shipping liquefied gas routing problems, as well as transaction settlement problems. This is with the Singapore Stock Exchange, which kind of also mapping quadratic optimization problems. There is use cases in finance, as I said. How do you make an optimal portfolio? How do you change the composition of the portfolio? How you detect opportunities? How you estimate risk and return? And finally, the energy management should be mentioned by itself because it's an important problem for sustainability and the environment. Again, one can use quantum computers to optimize the use of renewable energy resources, your storage systems, and the load to the grid. This is also very hard for classical computers, but can be efficiently attacked, again, at small scale at the moment as the hardware evolves with quantum computers. And I will end with a couple of words about quantum machine learning. Quantum machine learning is everywhere. It's one of maybe the most popular developments in computer science for applications in the last 10 years. We have supervised, unsupervised, and reinforcement learning. The indication is that the more exotic the distributions to be learned and the more fancy the data you have, not so much on the size, but on the structure, maybe quantum computers could help. This is very generic at the moment. I don't have time to go into much detail. There is a cut still in the technology. We don't know how to feed large data to the quantum machines efficiently, and we don't know how to make it's called a quantum RAM. However, there's still a lot of promising results, and the field is changing as we speak. We have been working with different end users and industry providers, including the Kantar International Market Research Company for customer segmentation problems and media consumption-based problems in this hybrid quantum classical approach.